Privyet, bitches! How is everybody doing? Good, I hope. So, happy Olympics, everybody! I thought I would do just a little bit of a recap about the Olympics up to this point. I think event finals start tomorrow, so I thought I would just give a little bit of a rundown about the events that have taken place so far and my thoughts about them, because I have a lot. So let's start with, because of COVID and everything that's going on in the world today, these Olympics really haven't felt like the Olympics. As a huge gymnastics and figure skating fan, the Olympics have always felt like Christmas to me, or my birthday, a very, very special occasion, a special event that I'm excited about, months, if not years beforehand, and I literally cannot wait for it to happen. But this year, it's been so different. It's not even something that I was really looking forward to, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's partially because of everything that's been going on in the world, partially because once we found out there wouldn't be spectators, that takes away so much of the ambiance and atmosphere of such an amazing and important competition. And also, and this has been the case since 2013, Simone Biles dominates the sport, so there's not any competition for the winner. It's a foregone conclusion that she is going to win. So that also makes it a bit anticlimactic, right? However, I will say though, once preliminary started, everything kicked back in, and all of a sudden I was really, really excited, like I normally am. I couldn't wait to stay up Sunday night so I could watch the Russians live in preliminaries, which I ended up doing, and it turned out to be a battle and so exciting right from the start. So all year long, we've known that there are 3 very talented Russian all-arounders, Galieva Melnikova, Vladislava Yurazova, and Victoria Listunova. And because of the stupid and at this point outdated per country limits, we knew that only 2 could advance to the all-around finals. And it was going to be a dogfight. It was going to be a battle to the death. Earlier this year at the Europeans, Vlada got 2-per'd out of the all-around, even though I think she maybe had the 3rd highest score in preliminaries. Does that not seem wrong to anybody else? I think nowadays, with team sizes being smaller than ever, 4 in the case of these Olympics, and I think 5, it's going back to 5 after this, there's no need to have 2 per country in the all-around anymore. We can go back to safely and comfortably having 3 per country. It should not be an issue. And whoever is in charge of the FIG, I don't know if it's Watanabe or Nelly Kim or whoever the F it is, they need to change this tomorrow with an executive order ASAP now, because it ruins the integrity of the competition. How could you have, well, we'll get to it, but how could you not have one of the best gymnasts in the world not competing in the all-around final? It doesn't make any kind of logical sense at all. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. So, because of the stakes, right from the get-go, the qualification was going to be very, very nail-biting and excruciating and nerve-wracking, right? So Russia started on floor. Vlada was up first. She did an incredible routine. I can't remember what tumbling she was throwing in the national meet after Europeans, but once I saw the pike pull in, I thought she might be putting back in the triple twist in some way, but she didn't. She just did 2.5 twist, punch front, then tuck double back, and then still ending with a double full. Vlada looks like she's been peaked for this event. She is in incredible shape. I'm still a bit miffed why the double full is still in the routine, because it just doesn't make any sense. Regardless, she did all of her tumbling very, very well, especially considering all the problems she was having earlier this season. And I think her score was like a 13.633 or something. An incredibly good score for Vlada on floor. And then, you know, Galieva and Vika, they both got 14s. And then Ahaimova, she got the same score as Vlada did, despite having so much difficulty. Her tumbling's incredible. I think she does, full twisting double layout, and then double layout, double Arabian, and full twisting double back as her passes. That's insane. You know, the dance skills aren't there, but her tumbling is just amazing. But anyway, so then we went on to vaults. That I definitely think is Listunova's weakest event. She has really bad form on the pre-flight, and the form on the vault itself isn't much better. So Vlada made up a few tenths there. And then we went over to bars. Vlada, that last giant full, she missed the handstand on. So there are, you know, handstand issues. I think she's improved her handstands for the most part, a lot of them from where they were when she was a junior or maybe even earlier this year. But that last handstand killed her. She still scored 14.8 something, but she ended up getting 2-paired out of bars finals by Galieva and then by Nastya, who made the team as a specialist just for bars. After 3 rotations, Vlada hasn't qualified for any event finals because she's been 2-paired out of everything. So at this point, it's looking a bit dire. Although she had a small lead over Vika, I wasn't the most optimistic because she, I think, has fallen in every single beam routine she's done this year, except maybe one, right? But we get over to beam. Vlada is first up, okay? She showed nerves of steel. She knew she needed to do the best routine of her life to have any chance to qualify to the all-around final. And she did just that. She wasn't giving anything away. She missed the connection after her front aerial, but other than that, it was just chef's kiss. She stuck the dismount, the round off back handspring 2.5 twist, and she scored a 14. So she laid down that gauntlet. She said, come get it from me, you know, come get my all-around spot. And Galieva was up next, and Galieva had an amazing cracker of a qualification meet. She hit her beam routine, which for her is also not the norm. And I think she scored like a 14.6 or 14.7 something. So she was safely into first place, the first Russian qualifier to the all-around finals. So then was the moment of truth for young Victoria Listunova, who, as we all know, if the Olympics hadn't been delayed, she would not have been age eligible if they had taken place last year. And believe it or not, some people don't agree with that rule, although it's completely antithetical to the concept of time and the passing of time. Like, regardless, if you wouldn't have been 16 last year, you will be 16 this year when the Olympics are actually happening. So from a logical standpoint, it never made any sense for people who were opposed to the 2005 girls who were able to compete this year. I think even though Vika has a couple of tenths advantage over Vlada in her D score, she had a couple slight checks here and there, including a step back on her dismount. In real time, it looked like it just wasn't going to be enough. It would be close, but it wasn't going to be enough. Vlada had scored a 14, which outside of the Chinese was the highest score up to that point. It's a really good score on beam for this Olympics, it seems like. And she came up just a little bit short. It felt like my prayers had been answered. Like, I can't even tell you what this feeling was like. All I wanted for these Olympics was for Vlada to make all-around finals. I wanted her to show everybody what an amazing artistic gymnast she is and how I think they should name wolf terns after her. I think we should just rename wolf turns Vlada turns. It's literally a delight to behold her wolf turns. So yeah, where was I going? Oh gosh. Although I definitely think Vlada is capable of a better floor routine with better choreography, just her posture and carriage is to die for. And there are moments in her routine where she sells it, and it's still a great routine. I don't like it as much as Galieva's in terms of choreography, but I still enjoy her floor routine. But in any case, she did almost as good as she could do, and it was enough on the day for her to make all-around finals, and I was just overjoyed. I went to bed that night saying, I think I tweeted that tonight Vlada Yurazova became a star, because I was just so happy with how she had comported herself and shown herself to be such an incredibly artistic gymnast on the biggest stage in the world, and I was so proud of her. So fast forward to 2 days later in the team finals, and even from warm-ups, Simone was missing her vault, and I did not know what the F was going on. I know sometimes people miss their warm-up vaults and then they're fine in the competition, but she wasn't fine. She lost her air cinch. She only did a 1.5. She's supposed to do an Amanar, and something was wrong. When she left the arena, I think the whole gym internet was collectively wigging out. We didn't know what was going on. I assumed it was an injury, because I think I'd read something saying that her ankle was barely holding on at that point. So I thought she was struggling with something physical. And then when she came back and scratched the rest of the meet, jaw dropped, right? And then to find out that it wasn't physical, she was having a mental block, or as they call it in gymnastics, the twisties, where her brain isn't able to communicate to her body what she needs to do. I'm still in shock over it, because in the 29 years that I've been following gymnastics, I have never seen this happen before. I have never seen a gymnast have to pull out of a meet, especially a meet it's the fucking Olympics, right? This is the meet. This is the most important meet in the world. And to see a gymnast have to pull out because of this issue, unprecedented. Unfucking precedented. I still can't believe it. I'm in shock each and every day. And now she's pulled out of all around in vault and bars as well, and I don't think there's any way she'll be able to do beam or floor. I just cannot believe that this has happened to her right now, you know? It's so sad. And it took me like days. I couldn't even be excited that because she had to pull out of the all-around, it meant that it was going to be wide open. And the first time, you know, and literally, you know, besides the year that she took off after the last Olympics, this would be the first time that a major competition wasn't a foregone conclusion and there was suspense. I couldn't even relish in that or enjoy that, because I was so shocked over why Simone had to pull out, you know? It made it hard for me to enjoy the repercussions of that action. And I still don't know how I feel about it all. It's just so friggin' weird. But yeah, Simone had to pull out, and then Russia did their usual good vaulting, great bars routines. They, of course, came in first place in qualifications, so we all knew there was an outside chance they could possibly pull it together and win team finals. Of course, we had thought that in London, we had thought that in Sydney, only for it to implode both times. So I wasn't, even before Simone pulled out, even after Simone pulled out, I didn't think that we being Russia, had this in the bag at all. Even after we had a healthy lead, I think it was 2.5 points after bars, because wouldn't you know it, Vlada fell off beam, then Galieva fell off beam. So that's 2 points of the 2.5 lead vanished. And yeah, I was panicked. the weight of the world was on young Vika to set the ship right, to get Russia back in a competitive space. And boy, did she deliver. That, I think, was one of the singular best performances in the Olympics so far. For her to hit that routine the way that she did, with all the pressure on her, with the fact that both of her teammates before her had fallen. I do think that fortune favors the young, I think, because they don't get the implications of how serious things are, I think. I feel like the older you get, the more you realize what's at stake. So by that token, we're fortunate that she was young. So the nerves, she was able to fight through those nerves and deliver an amazing routine. So I think after 3 rotations, Russia was ahead by, I want to say, maybe 8/10 or so. So we were still looking good because we had beaten the US in floor as well in preliminaries. So at that point, it seemed like if the girls just did their routines, we would win. Do people feel bad about me saying we as Russia? Maybe, but I've literally been a Russian gymnastics fan since 1996, so that's 25 years. Can I be some kind of honorary Russian at this point? Gosh, it's weird. I don't know. I shouldn't say we, because I'm not Russian. I'm Russian on the inside. Can I be a trans Russian? Can I be like Rachel Dolezal, not for race, but for nationality? And when it comes to Russian gymnastics and skating, I'm Russian on the inside. So that's why I say we. So we had about 8/10 of a point lead going into floor. And I felt really, really good at that point. Poor Jordan Childs, she ended up having to do bars and beam because Simone withdrew, and she hit both of those routines, but then the poor girl on floor, she fell on her 3rd pass, and that sealed the deal. Galieva needed like a 10 something for Russia to win, which she did with ease, and Russia won the gold medal. And 25 years I'd waited for that moment. Ever since the 1996 games, when Russia had won compulsories, and I thought maybe there was a glimmer of hope, but of course the Americans killed optionals in Atlanta, so I don't think that Russia had a chance, even though there were falls. I think obviously Liapina fell on beam, and I think somebody fell on bars as well. I don't know. They had to count a couple falls. Of course, Galieva had a really bad floor routine. Regardless, I think the Americans probably would have won even if Russia had hit, because the Americans went lights out. But from that moment on, I've been waiting for this moment. And the only one other time we won Worlds was in 2010, counting 3 falls. But because everybody else fucked up as well, Russia was still able to win. And that was a historic moment. But this, to win the Olympics, even though they've taken away Russia's ability to compete under their flag, at least they're letting them compete at all. So that's the bright side. But the negative side is we didn't get to see the Russian flag. I guess we didn't get to hear the Russian anthem. But it's still Russia. It's still Russia. And the fact that it's the ROC and not RUS doesn't diminish the 25 years and all that time, sweat, toil, agony of watching Grosheva balk after a 1.5 twist, and then watching, Ksenia do a perfect routine and then botch her double pike. All of that, all of this, everything we've been through, everything I felt as a Russian stan up to this point, in this moment, it was all worth it. It was finally all fucking worth it. And I didn't cry, but I just felt so much joy and so much pride that the best team or in my opinion, the most stylish team that still has that legacy to the Soviet Union, who, you know, and everyone knows how I feel about Soviet gymnastics. To have them finally win, it just feels like bliss. It's perfection. It feels so right. And I'm so happy, overjoyed. I was overjoyed at the moment. I'm still overjoyed now. I'll probably have a smile on my face for the next month or something because I'm so happy about it. Moving on to all-around finals. I think there was some fear a lot of us Vlada fans had that she might get subbed out for Vika, because Vika didn't vault in team finals, but her other 3 events she did amazing. I think she increased her score on every single event from qualies. So if the coaches wanted to sub her in on the grounds that she had the best chance to win, especially considering Simone withdrew, that would have been a valid choice. I don't think it would have been the fair choice, but it would have been a valid choice. Thankfully, they didn't do that. Vlada earned her spot fair and square, and when I turned on that feed Thursday morning to see Vlada warming up on vault, oh, the sense of relief was indescribable. I was so frigging happy that she was getting to compete because she had earned that spot, you know. And I knew she had an outside chance at a medal, but you know, mistakes happen, things can happen, especially in gymnastics. You never know, right? And if people made mistakes, she definitely was in there at a chance at a medal. But the all-around turned out to be such an incredible competition because everybody fucking brought it. Everybody hit for the most part. So it wound up that Vlada ended up in 4th place right off the podium. The big issue for me going forward with Vlada is her floor routine. They're going to have to work on that composition because she did get a good score the first day, but every day since it's just hasn't been so good. She's been scoring like in the 14.3 range. I think she's probably getting a 3/10 deduction on her double back because she does land kind of with her chest down. And I also think she has a slight cowboy on it. They need to rework her tumbling ASAP if she's going to be a competitor for gold in the future, I think. Floor is where they really need to key in and come up with the best routine for her, because this isn't it. Her dismounting with a double full on floor is not it. It's bad enough when the Chinese girls are doing it on beam, but on floor it's really inexcusable in my opinion. Regardless, floor is what killed Vlada's chance at a medal, basically. Because she was in 2nd place going into the final rotation. She did a good vault. She did pretty much the same bar routine had done the 2 prior ones. And then she did an even better beam routine than she did in qualies, redeeming herself from falling in team finals, nailing that front aerial jump, a nodie connection. Like, I was so proud of her. And her score only went up 2/10, and I was like, this is bullshit. To me, it was probably a 14.3 something to 14.4 routine. Where they're seeing the deductions in Vlada's skills, I don't know. Maybe she's getting hit for pauses because her posture is sublime. Her artistry is chef's kiss. Her wolf turns, we should rename the wolf turn the Vlada turn at this point. The way she performs that skill with a broad straight back, gorgeous control. She's one of the only gymnasts who make a wolf turn beautiful, and that is hard. I see so many girls struggling like this, like it feels like it's an adventure every time they do a wolf turn, and they're not supposed to look like that, obviously. There's a reason everybody hates wolf turns, because most of the gymnasts make it look like shit. But Vlada is the exception, and she doesn't get rewarded for that at all. Clearly. So I thought her beam score was a tad low. The race for gold and silver came down to Suni Lee, who is my favorite American gymnast competing, and Rebecca Andrade, is I think how you say her last name, from Brazil, trying to make history for her own country. She's been a sentimental favorite from the Gymtranet for years and years and years, but she's always been the victim of untimely injuries. But finally, she made the Olympics in good condition, and the gold was hers. The gold was fucking hers, but she gave it away on floor. She went out of bounds on 2 passes, and on her first pass, she went out with both feet. So that cost her the gold medal. Even with that, she still almost won. So it was definitely hers. She definitely gave it away. Some people think her beam score was a little bit low, even after her inquiry was accepted and it went up a 10th. I would have to rewatch and see what the judges were seeing. I mean, obviously she's no Vlada or Vika when it comes to execution, but she doesn't have a bad execution on beam. But IDK, she seemed happy with her silver medal, and that's really all that matters. And I think I while the meet was going on, I saw a couple people saying they thought that Suni might be getting a couple gifts here and there. But I don't think anybody could deny over the totality of the 4 events that she did the best job and she deserved to win. And I am so happy for her because I love her and I love her gymnastics and everything that she's been through in her personal life with her father hurting himself. You just couldn't see a better feel-good story. I just hope she doesn't go pro because I really would love to see her in the NCAA. If she wanted to go pro and stay elite a little bit longer, I guess that would be okay, but I don't know, I'm just excited to see her in the NCAA, especially competing for Auburn, because Auburn has never had a gymnast the caliber of Suni Lee, so that would be fun just to see that, which obviously it's because Auburn's head coach is, I think they're twins, the twin brother or brother of her personal coach in Minnesota, but that's the connection. That's why she committed to Auburn. But in any case, I was so happy that Suni won, Rebecca second, and then Galieva won the bronze. So dream podium. Yeah, I couldn't be happier with that podium, except if Vlada had found a way to get on it. But Vlada's floor was rightfully accounted for, and that's what cost her the bronze medal, basically. It's been a pretty great Olympics in terms of the gymnastics. When it comes to WAG anyway, I haven't really gotten to watch any of the MAG, but yeah, it's just sad that there's not a crowd. That makes me sad, but I'm excited about event finals. What I would like to see is now that Michaela Skinner is back in vault finals, I'm really happy for her because I know she was devastated after preliminaries. It would be cool to see her get a medal, but I think it'll be an upward battle at this point. Probably Rebecca might be the favorite for vault gold. Her Chung vault is pretty fucking impressive, I must say. And then bars, it's going to be a battle between Nina and Suni, and I hope Suni gets that gold on bars as well. Beam is obviously wide open as always. I do think Vlada is in there with a chance for gold. She had the best beam score of all the girls in her group in the all-around, and I think if she does her routine, she's right in there, definitely for a medal and maybe even for gold. A lot will depend on how that Chinese gymnast does. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I apologize. I can't even remember her initials. I still don't know why they do that, but they do it, and it makes it even more difficult for me to figure out who the Chinese gymnasts are. Like, I do not know the Chinese gymnasts. I think the girl who won the all-around silver medal from 2 years ago, I don't think she made the team. The only girl I know, like off the top of my head by look, is the girl who won the Chinese national all-around, who does the Shape of You routine. She's the only one that I really know. And Oh Yushan, because everybody's always talking about her being a beam queen. But yeah, I think her name might be Wan Quin Shin or Wan Chin Shin or something. The girl who finished first into qualies on beam. Obviously, it's hers to lose, but if she makes mistakes, then Vlada's right in there for a potential gold if Vlada hits as well. And then floor is going to be very, very competitive. I honestly am rooting for Ferrari to win. That would be the perfect end to her career. And especially because the floor routine that she has for these Olympics is by far the best routine that I've ever seen Vanessa do. It has feeling. It has emotion. She's giving it her all. It's giving me shades of Shushanova in Seoul. A gymnast not known for her artistry, going to the drawing board and coming up with something that works for her to show her expressiveness, to show that she can be artistic. I fucking love Ferrari's floor routine. So if I'm rooting for Ferrari to win floor, hands down. So maybe Ferrari first, Galia second, Vika third. I don't know. A lot of the girls in the floor finals I like, so it'll just be who hits best on the day that it counts, aka gymnastics. Oh my god, so that was a lot. If you made it all the way through, thank you so much for watching this. I really, really appreciate it. Please smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit subscribe, go to the bell, hit the top bell so you'll be notified when I post new content. I've already written a script for my next reaction video, so that should be coming up in the next few days, and I will see everybody soon. Bonne journée and take care. Bye. Mwah!